Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Nate Casts. We've got another match from the 10th ESL Pro Tour Weekly, this being the Korean Weekly. This is the final match, I believe. So this one should be a best of 5 in the bottom left. Spawning as the Red Protoss player, we have the Red Protoss named Trapu. He faces off against the Blue Zerg player in the Northeast, known as Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Ooh, he's going to get the probe block. Yes, so the probe's going to get there. Says, screw it. I'm just going to take myself this base because expanding is more important than dealing with your bull right now. Trap. Now, of course, we just talked about a little bit about Zen from the last match that we did. But if you're watching this VOD and you didn't watch the one I literally just cast, you might not know what I was saying. So Zen is a bit of an anxiety-inducing map. They did change it a little bit. They moved this ramp over a little closer towards the base. It used to be, I think, somewhere over here, pretty much. It was really bad. Map still sucks, in my personal opinion. But, well, got to play a lot of maps in StarCraft, so I don't know if they actually switched to the new map pool because I didn't check if there was a golden wall or anything. I would assume that they did though. So there's the Cybercore, the gateway to wall off here. I do wonder what will eventually be used to wall off that specific location on the other wall. These are still 20 minerals. You can still block it with any single building, but this map still generally favors Zerg for about a million reasons, such as Nidus Swarm Host here. Very long rush distance to actually get to this area. And then, of course, you could do it here or over here, depending on which way the Protoss player wants to expand. And obviously, having 2 openings into your base just gives you a second opportunity to crack open a cold one inside of the Protoss boys' base. So this probe has given up on blocking that one. Now it's coming up over towards this finished hatchery at the original 3rd location. And these Zerglings are going to push that probe away. Run, little Proberto, run, he says. Oh, man, I don't want to die to these Zerglings. I got to get home. I got to get back to my wall. That Adept's going to be here real soon, and I'm taking some damage, but I think I can make it. Oh, I made it. The Adept says, well met to the Zerglings, and the Zerglings piss off. So 3rd base, starting at the natural. And Ragnarok's playing this pretty chill. I mean, he's got Ling speed halfway done, but it's not like we got a fast Warren. It's not like we've got a bone nest. And it's not like we really are concerned with, honestly, a whole lot in this situation. One stray Ling does meander into the base, but it doesn't even see the Twilight, which is a good information save. This Stalker, though, I don't think the Stalker could come out fast enough to deny the Scout. I think with a 2 Adept opening into a Twilight, it is obviously Resonating Glaives, although many Protoss still open with Adepts, even if they go into Blink or Charge. But I think when you see a Chrono Boost off a 2-base Protoss who opened with several Adepts,
You've evolved your Zerg. Asa!
Oh my god, he uses the Diva voice pack? Ragnarok, you're canceled. You're canceled. Look at that. Probe lived a long, happy life just to go back and die anyway. There is no justice on planet Earth. He did build a forward gateway prior to this. This Overlord's not going to see it. That's going to be used for the fast warp-ins on that side. These Lings are kind of looking for something, but the Adepts deal with that. We got a Dank Shrine coming in behind this, so it's going to end up being a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 gateways. So you're going to have 4 gates to pump out some Resonating Glaive Adepts. Now, those are really good against the Lings, right? They 2-shot them. They 2-shot the drones. But I really like this. We got a Spine in the mineral line of the base that has the most workers. And weirdly enough, I'm just going to say this. This whole hatch block actually ends up benefiting Ragnarok. Because think about it this way. Adepts can easily shade between 2 bases. But to shade between this base with 14 drones and this base with 16 drones, that's actually really hard. It's actually really hard to try and shade between those 2 bases. So if he shades here, there ain't shit here for you to kill, dog. Now, these Adepts are going to get surrounded and largely killed off by the Lings anyway. But where could they shade to? Not the main. They can't actually get to where the workers are regardless. So at the end of the day, his original probe block He kind of ends up cucking himself in a weird way there. Thank you, Upper Zelda, for the raid, by the way. Well met. I have my ESL casting overlay on so the alerts aren't making sounds, but I do appreciate you, my pal Sal. Upper Zelda, a great memer, and another very sad Terran player just like me. Now, of course, the roaches are out, so the adept phase must come to an end. We do have some Dank Templar that were added into the mix. Overseer is just now starting since the lair is done. We have 2 Overseers, one for scouting and one for defense. Now, these DTs do have an opportunity to do something, but I think once that Overseer's done, yeah, you got to split off. That's the smart way to do this. 2 DTs, 1 in the third, 2 in the main. So you can split this one off. That'll at least keep the roaches from running towards the main for a little bit longer. Another Overseer getting morphed there. So what is it going to be? 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 11 drones killed there. But we're on a 2-base setup for this Protoss player, and that is always scary. And since you don't have anything like charge, is he gonna morph Archons? Like Archon Adept? Like what? You're not gonna do Archon Resonating Glaive Adept and kill a Zerg, man. What do you think this is? 1989? Dude, StarCraft didn't exist. That's what I'm saying, man. This ain't real. Okay, turns it into an Archon drop. Now that I find a little bit more sensible. That makes sense. I'm like, if he just warps in another round of Adepts here and pushes with 2 Archons, I'm gonna lose my head. I should have added the scoreboard to this. Welcome, Raiders. We're casting some of the ESL Pro Tour Korean matches, and I've also got some of the Europe matches that I'll be going over because playing StarCraft just tilts me too much these days. I am a very sad Terran player. So we got 4 drones killed. Oh my God, look at that. 2 orange drones. One of them should be dead. Should have been me. Okay. There's no spore in the main, which actually makes this prism drop really terrifying because not only is he going to kill the queen, but now nothing can really kill the prism and he can just focus down drones. 12 drones killed there. This base should be easily defensible by that DT. And the lack of anti-air. Oh my goodness. Dude, spores are pretty much free, man. There's very few Zergs out there that do not build spores, and it is really, really evident why. Ragnarok, getting his cheeks clapped by this double Archon drop. He's going to try and slip a DT in, but Zerg player wasn't born last night. Ragnarok knows this build ain't right. He's going to try and start all of the tech. He's got charge finishing, going into Immortals, getting the Templar Archives. He's like, I need to go charge a lot of Archon out of this, I guess. Recalls everything. This is a lot, though. We got 3 Ravagers being morphed. We've got quite a few Roaches. Sitting at 20. It's with 7 more on the way. And, of course, the Ravagers are not going to make this any easier. So some Force Fields are going to try and create space and burn the Corrosive Bile cooldowns. However, there's only 2 shield batteries. Third one is not ready yet in the back. And those Archons soaking up so much sun, but the 2 Immortals having to carry the entire fight. They are doing a pretty good job thus far. But once the Archons and Immortals die, everything is going to fall apart very quickly. However, he's kind of got him to walk into this funnel. The Zealots are getting some good hits on the Ravagers. Now the rest of the Flood is going to continue on. This is the big deciding moment. Can Trap continue to hold the door against this push? So far, so good. The Immortal Micro's been really good. We got 11 kills on one, 8 on the other. And these charged Zealots, with that upgrade finishing, really able to launch themselves into the fray and buy an extravagant amount of time for Trap to defend, especially since there is no 4th base. Trap takes game number 1. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. 730, no spores against Toss. Oof. That is exactly how I feel. That is exactly how I feel. All right. They are playing on the new maps for these, by the way. So we've got Trap versus Ragnarok. Game 2 is on Everdream. Amazing hold. Now, that's a tough hold to make. That's one of those things where, like, people in Twitch chat that are like, oh my God, look, he keeps the Immortals alive forever. Herp to dirt. But it's like, dude, if he makes one mistake with that, game's over. Ragnarok wins easy. Let's go into game number 2. In the bottom left, we have the red Protoss player. He is Trapu. He faces off against the blue Zerg in the northeast. He is Ragnarok. We've had ourselves a pretty interesting start to this series. I'm happy as well to be covering these types of matches because, frankly speaking, most of you don't care about the NA stuff. Not as many people watch it. So kind of finding this way to work the more casts into the stream and for the YouTube. It's been stuff that I've been really excited about in that scenario. And I really do like to see how these players approach the new maps, especially these higher level individuals, as we've got two pretty well-known, good Korean players going at it. Ragnarok only recently becoming better known, I think, over the last year or two, as we've had a better online structure for StarCraft stuff. But Ragnarok has been, since the earliest days of professional StarCraft, bringing it to the StarCraft competitive scene. But that's one of the things I like about the ESL Pro Tour weeklies. And I was talking to them. I'm supposed to be at DreamHack Dallas, but that event seems like it might get canceled now. But I have been writing. I've got a notebook of things I want to say, of one-liners, and I'm like, if Ragnarok qualifies for the World Championship at the end of this year, I pray to God it's by like 20 or 50 points. And then I'm going to be like, by the way, you know, Ragnarok actually qualified over Zest by 3 NA ESL Pro Tour Cups. Now, I don't know that Ragnarok plays in the NA ones, but it's the same value of points. So that's all I'm going to do. I really feel like these cups are awesome for getting some valuable playing experience, but also the points. They do add up. It's only 10 points, Nate, for first place. Only 5 for second. Yeah, but what happens if you get, what's 52 weeks times 5 points? Do you know how much a round of 16 finish gives you if you finished round of 16 at DreamHack this year? Do you think it's worth more than finishing second place in half the cups? You might be surprised. Might be surprised. I think one of my favorite things is when people talk about players not taking Challenger seriously back when we had WCS. And sure enough, every single year, people on Reddit are clamoring about how their favorite player barely missed it. And I'm like, well, looks like if somebody had made it one round further in one season of Challenger or two, they probably wouldn't have been disqualified. They probably would have been able to make it in. So, since we have many more cups this year than there were Challenger seasons last year, I love following what players are able to get done here, and I think it gives guys that make these deep runs pretty good points. So actually, Trap right now leading the series. If he wins this, both of these two players are getting points. It's just a matter now if whether it would be 5 points or 10. So this probe trying to go back in for another scout for Trap. We do have a much earlier lair in Roachhorn from Ragnarok. He was able to get a kind of standard opening going, and he did scout the Dark Shrine. So as this Prism finishes, I don't think we're going to see really a whole lot of success for this. I will say the window of opportunity is open because Ragnarok was pretty greedy with his spores last game, if you guys remember. This easily transitions into an Archon drop, and that's also why I'm going to bring up the spores, because a huge thing that cost Ragnarok the first map in this best of 5, simply speaking, was just the fact that he freaking got no spores, and then the Archon drop killed him. It wasn't even the DTs. The DTs did some damage, sure, but the DTs didn't win the game. So you got 1 DT in the front, 2 in the back. Now the DTs are going to be pushed back. We do have the Overseer. Road speed's not done, so he's fine there. And I think this is where you pick up all the DTs, you warp in the 4th, make your Archons. Overlord in the corner of the map says, well met. And he's got one to send in for a follow-up scout after this. I am interested to see what the first Twilight Council upgrade will be. Are we going to go straight into Immortal Charge Lot Archon? He's got 2 Adepts to try and harass the 3rd while he does the main base Archon drop. And here's food for thought. We've got a Spire. So Ragnarok's going to go for what I would only assume would be a Muta transition. No spores. But I guess if the Queens are close enough together with the Roach support, they should be able to do enough damage. This is a bit of a better defensive setup because Ragnarok only had 1 Queen defending each base on Zen. Now 2 Adepts do make it over to this base. They're going to get 1 drone. And if he can get up to 4, I don't think is too bad. Okay, only 3. So, you know, I don't know. It's like you think it's a good deal, but it's not. all these restaurants are like, hey, we're doing free delivery because of the quarantine. Because I live in Los Angeles and the place is like totally shut down. Everything's shut down. But they're like, oh yeah, we can still deliver food. And then like I got this sick offer from Popeyes. And then it turns out, and I shit you not, I order it through their website. It's like a meal for like $6 or something insane. The person, apparently they use a third-party service, even though you order straight from their website. And these guys, I got 7 phone calls last night because each person goes to pick it up and they're like, dude, Popeyes is closed. I'm like, but I ordered it off their website. Like, why would they have it come from one that's closed? Anyway, there's nothing I could do because they use a third-party service that I couldn't contact directly. And all these drivers are like, dude, cancel the order. It's just going to keep passing it to other delivery people who can't get you your food. So anyway, I'll update you guys within the next week if I ever get a refund from Popeyes. Or if I have to charge back and then get permanently banned for life from Popeyes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. My life's kind of a really well-written drama, you know? In case anybody was wondering, I did eventually end up just ordering Chinese from the place down the street. Directly through them. And I got it. It was great. I got chicken and broccoli. It's good. That's all I'm going to say. So the Muta transition is ready. Cannon's just now starting in the main. One almost done in the natural. Blink is done. A charge is the inevitable follow-up. But Mutas can still be annoying. Even with the cannon, even with the prism. Stalkers in general are not really viewed as great. But yeah, beef broccoli over chicken broccoli. I'm still on a beef broccoli hiatus because I actually ate so much beef broccoli over the summer of 2019. Honestly think I had a beef broccoli bowl every single day. I'm not joking. Either I ordered it or I got like the little frozen ones that you just nuke for 20 seconds in the microwave because I'm like, this is lean and clean and good for my gains while I consume 7,000 milligrams of salt a day. But I actually overdid it on the beef broccoli, so I'm still trying to avoid it for at least a little bit longer. The chicken broccoli was a good substitute. Was it served with noodles or rice? Dude, I don't eat rice. Meat and veggies, man. That's all you need in life. All right, DTs are going to come in for another swing. Heh, no pun intended. It's just lings and roaches behind that Muta opening. So I think the idea was to try and force out a lot of lings. Or excuse me, to force out a lot of stalkers. And then Ling Roach will just, you know, dunk on a lot of... Look at these Mutas. Come in, snipe the sentry, and he bounces out. Good poke there. That was really good. And while we're on this conversation subject, as we... this DT is going to be recalled home. The Ling's Roach is pushing across the map. For anybody curious, I got Katie chicken chow mein. And that was pretty good. And we split an order of steamed dumplings. That's right, I went steamed dumplings this time, bitches. Not fried. All right? That's why I'm only 200 pounds and not 300. So he's got the prism over the army, but the Mutas are going to be able to pull that back. Was he looking for the Overseer to try and save this with DTs? This has got a lot of units everywhere. This is pretty crazy. A lot of Stalkers. A few Immortals. How is the fight going on over here? I guess the Lings don't have any upgrades, and the +1 Zealots can kind of be okay against them. The Prism's still alive, so that's good. Muta count is thinned out a lot. I have no idea how he's going to stop this. He needs to kill the Overseer, right? That's basically his only chance. But he's using the Prism to juggle the Immortals. It's a little bit similar to what we saw last game. The Biles raining down. Now, once the meat shield is gone and you can get onto the juicy center of Ravagers, things will take a turn for the worse for the Zerg player. Blinks forward. Oh, he's going to eat some... Oh, God. Well, that's a lot of Biles. He ate a lot of Biles. Making you want some General Tso? Do it, man. Unless you live in California. General Tso's chicken out here sucks. Tell you what. I always talk about how good the Japanese and Korean food out here is, but man, oh man, Chinese food in New York. The Immortals are dead. There's no way Trap wins, right? Yeah, GG, Ragnarok. Takes game number 2, tying the series up off the back of a big push. Those DTs just did not... Well, DTs just didn't cut it, man. They didn't cut it. I haven't left my house in 5 days, all right? I can touch my face. You. Let's go to game 3. Trap versus Ragnarok game 3. They give me like 11 replays for every match. So I actually do not know how many games there are in this series, but we'll see. We'll see. Game 3 is on Nightshade. Dude, General Tso's chicken does sound pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie. The problem is it's just made... The place that I like to order from, it's just like, it's too tangy. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like there's more fried shit around it and sauce than there is chicken, which is the opposite of what I got when we would get it in Brooklyn. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a prima donna as usual. This is Crazy Nate. There's Crazy Nate saying his crazy thoughts again. I'm like the Charlie Day of StarCraft, man. You know? People pretend to like me and then they just call me crazy all the time. Even though I have good ideas too sometimes. In the top left, the red Protoss. Oh shit, I slowed the game down. It is the Turapu. He faces off. Side one apiece. With the blue Zerg of the southeast, he is Ragnarok. Now, if only I could mix the effects onto the samples. I'm going to keep working on how to use my audio stuff. Wow, the disrespect. Proxy hatch, but I think he could have even moved a hex to the left. Is this an off-center proxy hatch? No, it's not off-center. It's not, Nate. This is technically where it goes. But still, the disrespect. So we got a probe here coming to tase. Look how long that taser animation is when it's on a building. All this tells me is that probes should have 3 range, right? That's my takeaway here. Why don't probes have more range? Obviously, this taser is capable of crossing this massive gap to hit the hatchery. Am I crazy in thinking a probe probably has more than melee range? Look at that. I mean, you could beatbox to these probes tapping back and forth. Then the Zealot comes in. You added another level of the mix. Sorry, I'm getting really into this. So it takes the hatchery for his third. There's no Roach Warren. It's not like he's going to do a bust or anything out of this. The probe's blocking the actual natural. Is he going to cancel it? No. Okay, he's going to let it finish. He's going to build an Overlord with the larva from the proxy. Now that is exactly the kind of way that I would love to piss off a Protoss player with a proxy hatch. Proxy hatching them and then doing that. I just got the 7th text message from my dentist this week telling us that only emergency people can go in. I'm like, okay, you should turn your automated phone system off now. He's going to let the probe get the last hit because he wants the probe to get a little bit of the gold so that they can get their wards up earlier as the broodlings do die. Could still block with a larva too. I mean, you build the 2 lings to scout and then maybe squeeze an Overlord out of this larva at the final second before it dies from not having creep. Maybe is he gonna do it? Oh, could have blocked the hatch a little. I think if you build an Overlord out of there, that would take longer to build, right? Even if you cancel it, you'd still buy some time. Oh well, just Crazy Nate. So these adepts, there's nothing to kill in the natural. There's lings chilling in the main. So he doesn't want to necessarily commit to that yet. But he's got 2 gates, 2 pylons in the natural, building a Stargate. Trap needs to expand right meow. Right now. There you go. There we go. Noise. Very, very important to have that set up. Extremely important, actually, to have that set up. So the Queen finishes on the low ground 3rd base. Nightshade is a pretty big map. You've got some somewhat choked off, somewhat open spaces. You can open it up a little bit more yourself with those rocks. But look at this. He takes all those units he was forced to build at the start of the game, and he says, F you, I'm pushing across the map, dude. He's got 4 adepts and 2 zealots. And this army actually you could deny this spore, which is going to open the door for the Oracle later on. And obviously the Lings don't want to try and fight this. This is a tough spot to fight in. Gets a good surround on one of the Zealots and one of the Adepts, and at the end of the day, still a pretty good amount of damage done. Even gets a drone for his trouble. It does look like everything else is going to die, though. Oh my god, did this Zealot get another kill? Noise. Wait, I recorded it. Noise. There you go. Thank you, Nathan. So Oracle's going to come over here, but this Spore Crawler is unfortunately already done. He's going to tank a little bit of hits there. Unfortunately, missed out on, it looks like, 1 drone kill there. And took about 60% health damage, which is unfortunate. Had to warp in some more adepts as well because the Lynx went straight across the map after all that was over. So let's see what the follow-up is. Robotics facility. This makes sense. I don't mind it. I like a cheeky robotics facility or 2. and 2 oracles moving out. Now, I will say this. Despite the fact that this game obviously did not start standard, for anybody who's just tuning in, and for anybody who randomly opens VODs halfway through them, I don't know why you would do that. It was a proxy hatch to deny the base, and Trap built a lot of stuff before he actually got an expansion up. But despite all of that, I'm still going to say I like 3 oracle openings because in my experience of watching them and seeing how they played out in tournaments in 2019, I think one of the biggest strengths of the most dominant Zerg players has been their ability to use run bys, lots of Zerglings, Banelings, and all that crap. Obviously, there are other ways to try and kill a Protoss, but in my mind, when I look at what separates players like Cyril and Raynor from other Zergs, it's how consistently they manage to slip Zerglings into all of your bases. To me, that's a crucial component, and I think that the 3 Oracle opening sets you up to be best prepared to deal with a lot of Zerglings on the map. A, you've got more energy. B, you kill the Lings faster. And C, Oracles in general just provide pretty solid map control. And in a worst case scenario, a lot of Zergs kind of think about Protoss having maybe 1, possibly 2, but usually they're not planning their harass around 3 Oracles because it's quite a bit more difficult to pull that off. But even then, you force out the extra Spore in each base, 2 in the main, 2 in the natural, 1 in the third, but you've got your Ground Tempest there to deal with those in that scenario. 2 Adepts are going to shade into the third, getting 2 drones so far. And I feel like when I see Protoss players do this, if you can get 5, you're really happy. Oh, see, he had a chance to actually get another one. 5 drones makes you really happy. Oh, he's always trying to push the drones to the right side of the mineral line. See, that's just dangerous. That's reckless endangerment of your oracles. Look at this one. He's got 19 health. I'm going to call Oracle Protection Services on track. I'm having an anxiety attack right now. Okay, he made it out. He made it out. Oof. Now this Prism sees the roaches. Look at that. Default Protoss announcer. You know why? Because Trap's a bad all right? It's true. It's true. Straight up, dog. What'd they put you in prison for, punk? I juggled my prism too well. Oh my god. You're a sick. Don't put me in the block with that guy. So he's going to try and set up some stasis traps to cover against the incoming attack, but unfortunately does get spotted by Ragnarok. He's very aware of them. Force fields do force him to run to the side, but just a single Ling gets caught. So it's a Ravager Ling push. He's actually bringing all the queens out as well. Bring the girls out, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you want to cancel that battery, but I do think you need batteries on the other side. Prism trying to move some of these units out. It's really hard. You can't use the oracles because the queens were brought along for the ride. Oh. I thought he was going to lose one of the immortals there. How the hell are 3 immortals still alive? They're so low. So low, juggling all of them. I feel like I'm watching a laser during the break of IEM Katowice with that juggling. Except a laser didn't drop an immortal. Confirmed #1 juggler EU. Okay, another immortal does pop out. Gets a good force field on the Ravagers. The queens are slowly making their way through the wall. Just keep cranking out the immortals. It's really the biggest thing you want to do. The steam for this push for Ragnarok is running out. Not having queens, not having the larva injects. Well, okay, he rebuilt some of the queens, but he's floating a lot of resources that he can't really effectively spend because of the way that he's played this. Honestly, wouldn't mind an immortal on the high ground here. There's no high ground vision for our Zerg player. The Oracles are going to try and defend the third Nexus from the Zerglings. I'm not entirely sure that they're going to be able to pull that off. However, they do start to back it up, but the Nexus does get smitten or smited, whatever the word is for it. They do that to the Nexus. It's dead. Sitsuma, you obviously wear the pants because Nathanias only ever wears shorts. I live in Los Angeles. Why would I wear pants if I'm not going out for a special occasion? We found some really cool sweaters actually recently, and I was like, well, why would I buy these? We live in LA. If we move, it's to Vegas. I already own like 4 sweaters, and that's all I ever need for when I leave town. If it's a cold season. Both oracles. Oh, woo-hoo-hoo! I did not think you were going to live, my friend. Good job. Good job on staying alive. You proved Nate wrong. Thank you for the 46 months, Sitsuma. You're a good person and a good friend. Just take 4 of the probes. There you go. Just take 4. Just 4. Look, I selected the 4 and just right click. Okay. Although I'll be honest with you. I think it's okay to have 2 extra probes on a base. People always talk about worker efficiency, but did you guys know that workers 17 and 18 are still above like 70% efficiency? Like, they're really not that bad, honestly. Like, it's not the worst thing to have 18 instead of 16. You don't really want to go over 18, but then again, most of us wish we could be 18 forever as well. Well, at least physically. +1 melee is coming in. It's that Roachling Bane thing. It's not a very late game focused army out of Ragnarok, but that's how he won on Zen, right? Just a massive, massive torrent of units. Or excuse me, that last map we just played on. Sudirbon, I think is the name of the map. I can't remember. I'm just going to call that map. Yeah, that's the Sudirbon map. For all you DC Comics fans out there. All right. The Archon drop is still in play, though, which is really nice because we never had Ragnarok actually try to transition into like... Well, he never tried to get Hydras. There's the word, Nate. But no mutas either. Last game, he had mutas at this point. I don't even think he built a Spire. No. So this Prism should be way more impactful. Good Observer Snipe there. The Queens will obviously try to deter the Prism, but it's always going to be more difficult to use the Queens offensively. And even still, the Prism is going to be a little bit safer to pull away from the enemy army than it would have otherwise been against Mutalisks. I think delaying the creep is really important because with 26 Banelings coming in, and this Phoenix, like, Trap knows. You see that, you're like, oh, you know. And these bad boys only cost half a supply. So, yeah, he can get a metric ton of them. But yeah, delaying the creep is important because you know Big Mama Queens want to come join the party because that's the only anti-air for... That's the only anti-air on the board for Ragnarok. But here we go. Just an absolute ridiculous number of Banelings coming in from the northeast, from the south, from the east and the south. The Immortals are doing everything that they can, but there is so much Zerg. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I talk about maps. You have such a wide open arc on a low ground third base. And I'll tell you what. I thought this push was pretty impressive on Everdream, but it obviously dunks hard on Nightshade. Ragnarok goes up 2-1 in this best of 5. Dude's terrifying. Nate, get a haircut. Unfortunately, my barbershop is closed because of coronavirus. So there you go. All right, let's go to game 4. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. They always give us fake replays, so I don't know if when I see game 7, like, is that a real replay? Obviously, I don't click on it to confirm because I don't want to be spoiled. But ooh, this one's on Golden Wall. Yay, Golden Wall. This is an interesting map. And I actually do not mean it in the normal Castaway of being terrible. In the bottom left, he is Trapu. And in the bottom right, he is Ragnarok. There you go. Fantastic times in Ridgemont High. Life is good. Life is good. And I hope that you guys are as well. Best of 5. Boom, boom. Ragnarok up 2-1 over Trap. This is the grand final for the ESL Pro Tour Korean Weekly. The 10th Korean Weekly. So we've had some good quality StarCraft. So he's checking the gold base. I do feel like a lot of Zerg players probably trying to grab that third base as early as they possibly can. That gold base, I've already played a couple of Terran versus Zergs where Zergs just go hatch first to that gold. It is a pretty easily defensible base. It lowers the rush distance drastically to go this far forward, but Golden Wall is a pretty cool map. So since it doesn't look like we're going to have any cheese to start, I was mostly just waiting to see if I would need to not talk about the map too much. But basically, here's Golden Wall in a nutshell. Your main base seems pretty normal, right? Natural, good amount of space, not too weird. You got a ramp into it. I'm always happy if there's a ramp into the natural. You've got this third base option, which is 1 gas, but 6 gold mineral patches. And then you've got a high ground third that has somewhat defensible choke. But you also have a secret option. And in this map, you actually have 8 mineral patches on the outside of your main. Now, this is also on the other player's base. There is, by default, no way to get to the bottom half of the map without mining minerals. You can mine the minerals in your base. You can mine the gold minerals at the gold base. Or there is also a lower mineral count bridge in the dead center. Obviously, this is going to be the easiest to open since it's the furthest away from both players. These are only 5 minerals, whereas these ones are 20 minerals per. So these patches are 20 minerals. It takes multiple trips to mine these out, whereas you only need 1 worker to take out 1 patch. So if you want to open the middle, it's pretty easy. If you want to open the entrance to your opponent's base, you're going to need to be able to like mine stuff there. I've seen Zergs build an extractor here, and then you could use 2 drones. You could 2 drones to open up the middle. You open the middle door, and then you use 1 drone to build an extractor. Drone mines minerals, mines extractor, and goes back and forth. That way you don't need a hatchery, and you can just use 1 drone to cycle through the whole wall. That is a thing you can do. This map has, you get a lot of options because of that. You could also take your 3rd here. This is not that hard to defend. Good choke point. This is a little bit far for things like tanks or colossi or a cannon to help out, but frankly speaking, your opponent also has to invest a decent amount of economy to punch through those. So somebody in chat asks, can't you mine the side mineral patch with 1 mule? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That would deny you roughly 2 to 3 real mule mineral cycles, though. So you're giving up a lot of actual income for that because the mule mines 25, I think, per trip right now. And it will only get 20 from that small patch. We got roaches. We got lings. No drones on the natural. The total drone count is 23, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say it. For all intents and purposes, economically speaking, this is a 1 base assault by Ragnarok to try and kill Trap, who is going for that resonating glaive adept opening. And as wild as this whole thing is, you'd be like, but Nate, doesn't he need his units at home to defend? Well, when your opponent's on 1 base economy, every single drone you kill is a massive percentage of their total income. No, keep killing drones. If he can hold here, a little bit of the wind comes out of the sails for Ragnarok, but oh my God, the wall's not closed. The wall's not closed. No, no.
It didn't work, my friend.
Oh, well, I think he's dead, right? I think he's dead. This is it. He's probably, yeah.
Hasta la vista, baby.
There you go. Ragnarok wins it 3-1, I guess. Some good cheddar. I thought that was going to go a little bit longer. I'm sorry for my very long-winded map explanation that took the entire course of the game. Still love you.